First and foremost, I would say thank you to Masterpiece for inviting me to deliver a small talk on the title that I choose, Malaysian Art and Patronage. I wouldn't want to speak on individual artists here. I've done that before at the Henry Butcher's auctions, but today I feel that perhaps what support the auction in Malaysia is first and foremost that we must understand the historical background of the Malaysian art since the era of colonialization during the British time, and then the independence, pre-Merdeka, post-Merdeka, and then what happened with the National Cultural Congress, and follow up with many events on the developments of arts in the country. We understand that the majority of our artists in Malaysia, we started with as art teachers, teaching in the colleges, art teachers colleges, and then later with the introductions of new art institution like ITM, University of Science Malaysia, MIA, and what have you in the country. So it started with the art teachers which are actually trained from the Western world, from either Europe or America. Hence we find that the developments of arts in the country is very much influenced by the Western art education. And as a result, the indigenous art being subsided, and we find that now we have more works like what happened that you showed on the screen just now. So the ecosystem in the arts, we must, as collectors, we must understand that it started with the education, the art education, producing the artists, and then the artwork, and the theoretical background, the art historian, the art critics, the galleries, the museums, and complete the cycle. Without the presence of all these, there will not be patrons or patronage that we have today. So it is actually the investment that we made throughout the developments of art, Malaysian art. And this is very important because what do we collect? The modern art, what are the things that we look for in the arts? We must understand that for a particular work of art, it started with a young artist and it develops over the years. There must be literature behind it. There must be continuous writing about the particular artist. There must be documentation, proper documentations about the artwork. There must be a discipline that carries the artwork throughout his career. And as a collectors, we look at this as a document that will bring out the artist and the artwork. Whether it is a one-off kind of artwork or a serious study over the years. Normally it will take about, from my experience, for an artist to become very famous, it will take about 10 years before it really stand out from in the art scene. So what goes with this? It is the people involved in writing about the artwork, writing about the artist, creating the literature, the art critics that comes in and assess the artwork and see whether the artwork's really outstanding or not, according to the ecosystems of the country, of the artwork, the philosophy, the psychology involved, the sociological involved, the aesthetics of the artwork. And we must also understand that for an artwork, whether this artist is a trained artist, whether we can read the formalistic aspect of the artwork, whether it's skillful or not, whether the material that they use, the medium that they use, the artist use, is the right thing to do, the right choice. And all this is very important because it has to do with the durability of the artworks. We wouldn't want to buy an artwork and then we have it on the wall and keep, or in our safekeeping. After a while, the whole thing disintegrates. Yeah? It has to be something that will later bring returns to us in many forms. In Malaysia, the patrons for the arts so far, since Merdeka until now, we have a strong backing from the banks, mostly from the banks, the art institutions, National Art Gallery, the embassies, the museums, private galleries. And today we find that individuals, private collectors, the young entrepreneurs, the executives, they are coming in to purchase artwork. But this group of people, they come in with knowledge about art. They know what they are collecting. Yeah? And we must provide the right material for any particular of art in the country. To me, we look at the artwork as a layman. You will see that people will look at the style. This is very the lowest, I suppose. It's about style, a particular style, A style, B style, C style. And then we say that, okay, this work reminds me of Cubism. This work reminds me of pop art. This work is more like Kandinsky's. This work is like Picasso's. We are actually putting values to the artwork to correspond with the global art history. People that are really, that the artists of the world that really make their mark. And the Malaysian artists are trying to, or writers trying to put the value to the artwork to equate with the Euro-American masters. But are we doing the right thing? Are we doing the right thing? This is the question. But we cannot run away from the problems of, well, the education in the country, the literature, the artistry is from the Euro-American art history. Yeah? And it being a young country, more or less 60 years, that we are building up our history. And the people involved, they are working with references from the Euro-American art scene. And you'll find later, in terms of styles, in terms of types, and symbolism that they use. Hence, we often hear that the saying that my work, I'm using the international language, but my content is local content. Meaning, artists in Malaysia, hence also in Indonesia, or for that matter in Southeast Asia, we are all using the language that is universally used by the modern arts, yeah, the artists of the modern world. But what makes it different? The content makes it different. So the problem now is to see whether when we collect artwork, is the content worth, worth to be collected? Yeah? In the artworks, the skill, the skills in producing the artworks, the content of the artworks, whether it is meaningful or not, or is it simply a surface design for that matter, right? Just colors and all that. So this is the thing that we look for. So, but how many of us actually understand that when we purchase the artwork, it carries certain soul, certain meaning in it, yeah? And this is the question that keep on asking again many times. And what more the challenge now is that we are addressing with the different groups of people. Our patrons there are 3 types of patrons that we have now. Those coming from the baby boomers, those from the X generation, and those from the Y generation. The artwork that we have in Malaysia now, most of it are from the baby boomers, right? And I can agree also there are also young artists that representing the X generation and Y generation. But the collectors, who collects this artwork? Is it the baby boomers that collect the artworks? Or is it the Y generation that collect the artwork? Or is it the X generation collect the artwork? The Y generation will be looking at artworks that no longer as what we find as in the National Art Gallery. They are into technology, they are into internet, they are into works that break from the normal art scene. How do we collect this kind of artwork? Yeah. Can it be in the auction house then? If that happens, then what happens in the art education? Are we teaching, are we building the patrons of the future that will support the Generation Y? Are we building that? Or we are actually propagating what happened in the past and things of beauty that we hold on and say that this is reminds me of the Renaissance period, about the modern art and whatnot, what all in the history of art. So this is the thing that we keep on asking ourselves. Yeah. So, but no doubt we have a group of people that will support that kind of artwork. But in the future, it will change. Then we will have problems with that. So I hope that the patronage in Malaysia, we have also to consider what happened in the art school. Yeah, we are the one who are responsible to create the future patrons of the art. What happened in the art school in the country? Now, artworks break the frontiers. People are no longer talking about art in Malaysia alone or in Indonesia. People are talking about art that my work can also be in New York or in Paris or in London, and it stands there. So can we break through? Yeah. And of course, with the technology today, networking and what have you, Facebook, yeah, and you can transmit all these images through the technology, and artists no longer have to travel from here to Europe or to America. They work here, and their patrons are no longer local patrons. Their patrons are from the global players. Yeah. And this is happening now. It's happening now. I have students who work and they no longer sell their work in the country, but they sell it through internet. Yeah. And this is real, and we must look at it as a serious thing that's happening now. If not, we will lose out the patronage in the country, the education, the ecosystem that supports the art scene is no longer there. We are facing with challenges, different form of artwork, years to come. Yeah. The easy way out today that we're talking about abstraction art, abstract art. Yeah. And that's the most common usage of the artwork. People keep on saying that, what is this? This is an abstract art. What is abstract art? I don't know, I just can't understand what is it. But I like the painting, and it is something that is good. But what makes an abstract art? So the literature that supports the abstract art, that we must understand. We must be knowledgeable in that. And then the challenges that we have also, the audience. Are they literate in the artwork? Are they just following the art market and just purchase? Well, people purchase and you purchase, but what you purchase you don't know. The mindset, our art institutions, are we preparing the future patronage? These are some of the questions that we have to look into. And I think the fundamentals of the whole thing is that when we purchase an artwork, the patrons must be knowledgeable and do justice to the artwork. For example, a young artist out of the blues and come into the auction house and sell the artwork and say, well, this is something that is really good, but there's no literature of the artist. Yeah? And there's nothing about the artist unless an art historian comes in and say, okay, this is a good piece of artwork, and start to narrate and write an appreciation of the artwork, and the bridging comes in between the artist and the audience, and then the collectors and the years of involvement in the art. And these are things that we have to consider. And in the Malaysian art scene, I feel there's a lot more that we have to do in creating the right patronage to support the arts. Yeah. And of late, there's so many auction houses that are coming in, and I could see some positive developments in this. And this, of course, creates what we call closing the loops, yeah, from the art education right up to the business in art, the entrepreneur in art, and the whole system, and it make it complete. So from there, the buildings of the icons, masters of the Malaysian arts will come in slowly, and we will find that later, you will find that the arts in Malaysia will be of the same standing in any other art of the world. Whether they are in the mainstream, in the art history, or in the tributaries of the art history, it is there. I think that's all that I have to say for the art and patronage. I welcome any questions if there is any. Thank you.
At 2,500. At 2,500. In advance at 2,500. At 2,500 now. At 2,500. 3,000 anyway? We're at 2,500. Are we all done at 2,500 now?
Now, lot number 12. And there are 2 items in the lot, and they can hear at 2,000 is a 8,000. And necessary 15,000 back in. 15,000 now. Straight ahead at 15,000. 15,000 now. 15,000. Any more? 15,000. No more than that, for sure. 15,000 telephone pounds. 15,000 straight ahead. We're at 2.5. I'm in the room at 2,500 now and away. 7.5. At 7.5 now. In the centre at 7.5 now. Gentleman's bid. Your bid's at 7.5. Any advance? Against you on the left. No more. Thank you. 7.5 then. Your bid's at 7.5. At 7.5. Straight ahead at 7.5.